Alrighty. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you find yourself today. It's another beautiful day, and we are going to have an exciting discussion today. Those of you who've been with us for a couple of weeks now, you realize we started getting into the political arena. When I say political arena, I mean we are addressing direct political campaigns. Let me put it that way. Um, and we started that about 2 weeks ago. Today, I would have a little bit of advice for last 2 weeks. I give a little bit of advice to the NPP party. Today, I'm going to give some little bit of advice to the Baumia campaign. I'm not a member of NPP, but as we said the other time, we are concerned about a level playing field. And there is some dishonesty going on within the political space, especially the NPP primaries. We will talk about the NDC primaries when that comes up, but for now, the NPP primaries is what's on the table. So it's an observation um, and suggestions. And we're doing this because we believe that whoever we have to give the electorate, be it on the party level, those who are going to vote to elect their flag bearer, or the national level, we need to give the electorate the right information. They have to be correctly informed, um, not in a dishonest way, but in a way where they can make up their decisions. They can um, make up their mind as to who they deem fit to become the flag bearer of a political party. And at the end of the day, they would also become, because whether we like it or not, one of these two parties would emerge as the winners of the elections. So if we don't give people the opportunity to make the right choices, or give them the opportunity to make informed decisions that will lead to making the right choices, the whole nation suffers. Sometimes people think, initially that was my thought. I was like, well, this is political parties issue where they are rancoring and struggling and fighting to choose a presidential candidate. So why do I have to worry, or why do we have to worry on this platform as to who, how they play their game? But then when we thought about it broadly, we realized that at the end of the day, if we are not advocating for people to be rightly informed and to make the correct choices, at the end of the day, the whole nation suffers for the errors and the unfair, dishonest um, game of a political party. So that's part of the reasons why we are talking about this on this platform. With that being said, that is just by way of introduction. I want to welcome all of you to analyze this. We, on this platform, as always, we encourage ourselves to educate ourselves in order for us to be creative. We believe that creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. Creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. So when you educate yourself, when you educate your mind, you'll be able to create. I know sometimes people might be asking, why do you keep repeating this statement. We are repeating the statement because we wanted to get into the psyche of the listeners, especially people of African descent. You know, we just want to debunk that perception that creativity and advancement, inventions belongs to a particular race or a particular group of people. Um, it's been established biologically that all humans are the same. All humans are the same. The brain power and everything we process the same. So let nobody put your brain power in captivity. And that is what is going on. Most of us have our brains in chains. And so we cannot think beyond what the master wants us to think. We cannot think beyond the box that has been created for us. That is why we want to reiterate this statement that creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. So irrespective of the color of your skin, if you educate your mind, if you educate yourself, you will be able to create. And by way of education, we're not talking about going to school. School is important. That's part of education. But by way of opening up yourself to be enlightened, for information to come to you, and then you would have to use your brains to think through the information. Use the brain to think through the information. That is where you get enlightened. When you get information, you sieve that information and you make sure you put your brains to work. There is an idiom which says, put on your thinking cup, which needs to be on every time if you want to be enlightened. All right. So when we talk about education, we're not talking about getting degrees or whatever, letters added to your name. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about being enlightened, making yourself available for information. All right. On this platform, we don't entertain insults. On this platform, we respectfully agree and disagree. If you have a dissenting opinion, we welcome it. Bring it on. But we want to discuss. We don't want to argue. We want to discuss opinions so that at the end of the day, we all learn from each other to better ourselves, equip ourselves in order for us to go out there and build our communities and our societies. Getting that out of the way. Um, on Analyze This today, as I said from the beginning, I am going to give a little bit of an advice to the Baumia campaign. So if anybody knows any of the Baumia supporters and campaign strategists, tell them to get closer and listen. But you see, sometimes you hear people saying that politics is a dirty game. And I always say that it saddens my heart when I hear people say politics is a dirty game. They may have the reasons for saying that, but I don't think that is justified. You know, it's politics is an institution taking care of millions of lives. Whatever a political decision, whenever a political decision is made, it affects every Tom, Dick, and Harry of that particular environment or that particular community or a country, if you want to say so. So I find it difficult to understand that an institution that defines the future, that defines the lives, or to a bigger perspective, to a broader perspective of millions of people, how can that be a dirty game? And from the aspect of where people say it's a dirty game, I kind of understand because honest people, or what we call, what I would want to say, leadership, is lacking within that space. And so we have dishonest people who are playing that game. And so they make it dirty, understood. But the institution is not a dirty game. The institution is a serious game, is an institution determining the development, determining the success, determining the progress, determining the upward mobility of a community and a whole generation and generations to come. Please pay attention. An institution that is determining the fate of a generation and generations to come. We cannot leave this institution in the hands of dirty people, or I don't want to use those words, but dishonest people. That is why we've taken the stand to throw in our two passwords, so that anyone who has ears and want to listen and want to process the information we discuss on here would benefit. Okay, so that is why we've taken the trouble to look at the political landscape, especially with the primaries, because it's very important. Like I said, it's not just the delegates who have a job to do. We all have a job to do. As a nation, we have a job to do. Because if the wrong person is chosen, and guess what? That person becomes the president of the country, Ghana, who is going to, if that person is not right for the seat, who do you think is going to suffer? All of us. It's not going to be NPP or NDC who are going to suffer. It's everybody in that country is going to suffer from the ill decisions, from the fatal decisions of these so-called politicians. So that is why we've taken keen interest here. We are not rooting for any personality amongst all the candidates, but we're just pointing out the dishonesty which is going on in the NPP primaries, or even though they claim they've not started the campaign, but it's already started unofficially, is already started. And you could, it bothers me when I hear the dishonesty. So one aspect of it, which I spoke about 2 weeks ago, was the fact that the especially the Canadian Japan fashion is trying to portray Baumia as a very dishonest person. And as a matter of fact, the tag Baumia is a liar is almost coming to stay. And this is where I need the Baumia followers to listen carefully. That tag is almost coming to stay. And anybody who decides to comment on the political scenes in Ghana would always, most of them, the ones that I've listened to, I heard Black Rasta, I heard a whole bunch of commentators who would want to do a political commentary, and all you hear is Baumia is a liar. And I keep asking myself, what about the rest of the people? Politicians, look, I'm choosing my words carefully. Politicians are fond of saying untrue things. Let me put it that way. I'm not going to call them liars, but all of them are fond of saying untrue things. They make statements and they walk back. All of the politicians. So sometimes I tend to ask myself, why is the Baumia team not deciding to come back to this kind of tag by engaging people to bring up issues that has to do with that perception that he's a liar, and the rest of the political actors are honest people. I don't see that. And last 2 weeks I made mention of some of the lies. For instance, Canadian Japan has told us over the years. And even recently, just recently, he even told a lie that blew my mind. I was like, why would he even do that? Because it really didn't make any sense when um despite had his auto show. Kennedy went to I believe it was one of the universities where they were having a program, and he said it was his sister who did the design or the lighting or whatever, which was not true. And this is something meager. So if somebody could lie about something little as this, and you don't think he's a liar, but he's an honest person, and you want to tag Baumia as a liar, yes, Baumia may have said some certain untrue things, which I get it, but let's not leave that tag on him as a liar. So his campaign team, whoever is part of his communication team, please pay attention. When you guys need to set up a time or a date or a media campaign where you call out people to bring out some of the so-called lies they claim Baumia have said over the years, which has given him that tag as a liar, so you guys can diffuse those things. Because I'm pretty sure some of these things might have explanation. But if you just let it slide, it is going to be a big and a huge issue for you guys during your the process of your election. Trust me, the moment they tag you with anything negative, it's going to run through everything. So I listen to most of the broadcasters, and especially the recent one I heard was Black Rasta. I know he was campaigning for Kennedy Japan, which was fine, but don't tag an opponent as a liar when the person you're campaigning for is also a liar. So the campaign team, don't go out there and attack anybody, but invite those comments so you can explain and you can diffuse that misconception. We are concerned, or let me say, I'm putting this out there because we want the playing field to be leveled. So when the people, the delegates are making a decision, they have a fair idea of what's going on instead of throwing dust into the eyes of the people. And I want to state it emphatically clear that if you're talking about lying, almost all the politicians are not always truthful. Let me put it that way. That's more respectful and decent. They are not always truthful. It cuts across every politician. Every politician. They're not always truthful. So please, the Baumia team, don't let this tag hang on his head because it's going to hurt you guys. I can say from where I'm sitting, with the little that I have learned about leadership, if you let this tag hang on his head and you don't combat or diffuse it, if you don't fight it, if you have any fight to do this with all of your strength. Diffuse that and take that tag off. Else it's going to hurt you in this whole process. So that is my little bit of an advice for the Baumia team. Invite or make this topic a huge one. Go on media campaigns. Invite discussions where people should point out or come out with some of these things they claim or some of the lies they claim he has told, so you guys can have the opportunity to diffuse or to defend or to explain, because that tag is not a good tag. And the reason I'm talking about it, it is not just a Baumia issue. It's an issue of all the politicians. So I think it's unfair and it's very dishonest for them to tag just one politician with that tag. That is why I'm talking about it. That is why it is important for the team to start working on diffusing that misconception in the minds of the people. All of the politicians sometimes are not truthful. All of them, all, not a single one that I've seen truthful. All the politicians, to the point that I even now call them politricksters or politricians. So don't accept that tag on him. All right. So make it a media campaign to diffuse that misconception in the minds of the people. And the other dishonest part was what I spoke about last 2 weeks, which I'm not going to belabor the point about the fact that he suffered a humiliating defeat, and that he does not deserve to go again. That statement is untrue, because that defeat was not a Baumia defeat. From where I say, as an observer, that defeat was an NPP defeat. So it wouldn't matter who NPP had presented on that day, that fateful day, the 7th December 2024. It wouldn't matter who they had presented as the presidential candidate. That person was going to lose, and lose miserably. Why? Because the people were pissed. The economy was not in favor of the ruling government. The whatchamacallit, the arrogance displayed by some of the political actors within the NPP. The COVID did not help them. The Ukraine war, Russia-Ukraine war did not help them. Look, whole factors was not helping them. So it doesn't matter who you present as your presidential candidate. The time was not good for NPP, period. So it was not a Baumia defeat. It was an NPP defeat. It was a defeat that was, the verdict was given according to the decision the people made based on the performance on the whole political party, of which all of the presidential aspirants were part of. So that is also another thing. But that aspect of it, I think some of the communicators of Baumia's campaign are doing a little bit of a good job, but they're not being honest too, because certain things that went on, we all knew he was not in charge. They aren't talking about those things. They're silent, which I kind of get it. It's politics or politics. I kind of understand, but hey, it might hurt you. So you need to devise a strategy with all those people going out there throwing insults and yelling insults and screaming insults at each other. Why don't you rather take your time to explain some of these things to the electorate? It is better to do that, to have discussions, honest discussions with some of these topics, rather than going out there and trade insults, which is not going to help you. It's not going to help your party, because at the end of the day, when the flag bearer is chosen, what are you going to do? Are you going to walk out of the party? So that's not my take. That's your take as NPP members. So you might want to consider that. The last thing I want to talk about, man, time is running fast. The last thing I want to talk about before we close the curtains is the issue of either Aquaba or Obake. Um, that's an honest discussion, though. I think it's an honest discussion that needs to be had, because when you have a multi cultural, linguistic, traditional community, there has to be some fine lines that are drawn. There has to be a blueprint of what things or how things are done within that community. And so I think it's an interesting discussion, and it's a good one. It's a good one to bring to the fore. But I almost forgot about this. I have to say this. Those who took the powers in their hands to go to the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum to change the inscription needs to be brought to book, irrespective of the fact that they have introduced a very important discussion. You cannot take the law. You see, we got to understand that a nation, if we want to be progressive, a progressive nation abides by laws. No matter who violates the law would have to face the full breakers of the law. It doesn't matter who violates the law. And this is a clear violation of the law. You introduce a topic, go through the right quarters. Let's discuss. Let's come to an amicable solution. And then let the appropriate authorities take the steps to do the changes they have to do. You don't bypass the authorities and go do the changes. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to send across? You can be lawless, and because you're powerful or because you're loud, you can go walk scot-free? Is that the message we're trying to send out here? You see, if you do that, you even water down the discussion you have tabled. Instead of you taking your time, taking it through the appropriate quarters, and you don't do that, you go ahead and out of your own will, you decide to go and change the writings, if it is true that the writings have been changed from welcome what you call it, Akwaba or whatever to Obake. If it has been changed and it was not done by the authorities, by the appropriate authorities, whoever did it needs to be investigated, must be brought to book, period. The issue of Akwaba and Obake, I think it's an important discussion we need to have as a nation. And I understand the people who are introducing, I'm not even going to say guns and cheese, no. The people who are introducing that concept to start the discourse. I understand the perspective, but one thing we have to understand is that in Ghana, I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, that there are 5 major languages. When spoken, can be understood by everybody. I might be wrong. Chi is one of them. Gan is one of them. And I believe the Dagombas, the Dagbanis, there have certain languages, about 5 of them, basic languages, that when you speak these languages, anybody, irrespective of the dialects, the minor dialects that are within, people will still understand you. So why not use these 5 major languages to welcome people? That's my opinion. So the Gan, the Chi, the Ewe, either the Dagombas, and maybe then Zima, whatever. Let's sit down. You see, this is the beauty of a progressive community. When issues are tabled, right thinking people go to the table and think through and provide a solution. That is what a progressive society does. So let's get a body that would think through some of these things and look at the languages we have Because sometimes, for instance, when you take Chi, the Kwiapin person understands Chi. The Fanti understands Chi. The the Achim, the Kous, the whole bunch of pockets of the Chi dialect, or if you say the Akan dialect, who would all understand Chi. So that is one. And then maybe you take Ga Dungbase, the Gans and the Ga Dungbase. You the Dungbase. You figure out, can all the Dungbase understand Ga? Or can all the Gans understand Dungbase? Which I don't think that's true. Because I speak fluent Ga, but I don't understand the Dungbase. So I think that's not true. But can all the Dungbase, or can the majority of the Dungbase understand the Ga? If they do, then Ga becomes the common language for that group of people. And then maybe we go up north and then we pick a language. The majority of the people up north, do they understand this language? If that's what they do, you pick that language. So we can get about 5 major languages. That's in my opinion, but I stand to be corrected. But in my opinion, 5 major languages that can be displayed. So Wezolo, Akwaba, Obake, and it even portrays the beauty of the diverse language and the diverse natives of the land. So if we have introduced this beautiful topic, let us not mar the discussion by using our own strength and our own power to do things unlawfully. I welcome wholeheartedly the discussion. I welcome wholeheartedly the topic to be discussed. But whoever, if it is true that somebody went ahead, bypassed the authorities to go to the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum to change the inscriptions over there, shame on that person, and that person needs to be brought to book. That was done unlawfully. Even though you might have a case, it was done unlawfully. Let us use the right channel. Let us encourage some of these right channels. So let's bring people to book when they violate the laws of the land. And that's a clear violation of the law of the land. It's a defacing of public property. I don't care if it's you decided to let the appropriate authorities handle that. And in any case, I don't believe that it has to be a replacement of one. You see, and we have the welcome, which is English. It's an official language for the country. So that states you add whatever you need to add. Let's find out how many languages, major languages, understood by everybody. And let's put all that there. That is my little opinion, because the introduction of the Obake makes sense. It makes sense. It even shows the beauty of the diverse native and cultures we have in the country. Let us not use it negatively. Let us use it positively. And those of you who are inciting and insulting other tribes, you need to bow your heads in shame. If we don't take care, this little discussion, I wouldn't even call it little. This beautiful introduction or discussion can destroy the whole nation. Because I go on social media and I feel like it's getting crazy. The introduction, the idea is beautiful. Let's sit, think through, come to an amicable solution rather than people resorting to insults. It's Do you know what it does? Do you know what insults does? Let me say something and think about it. Anybody who takes the least opportunity to go out there and insult people and rain insults on people has an issue with what we call inferiority complex. I don't care who you are. You could be the president of the world. If you are arrogant and you're quick to rain insults on people, check your confidence level. Check your confidence level. I mean it. Think through this. Anybody who is confident, I'm not talking about arrogance. Anybody who is confident of himself. Let me explain confidence to you. I know most people get it wrong. Confidence is the capacity to value and appreciate your gifts as well as the gifts of other people. I want to repeat. Confident is the capacity to value and appreciate your gifts as well as the gifts of other people. So every confident person knows that he's as equally good as anybody. So they see you as a co-equal. They see you in the eyes or in the lenses of respect. They will tell you their mind respectfully and expect that you have some sense to communicate back to them in that level of intelligence. That is what a confident person does. Sometimes I hear people say, oh, people mistake my confidence to be arrogance. No, we know the difference between arrogance and confidence. Arrogance is when you think you're better than any other person. And so you want to push your ideas and you want to push your thoughts down the throat of other people. That is when we know that you're arrogant. And arrogance comes from a place of inferiority complex. So those of you who pick up the phone and you start insulting other tribes, it means that you're not even comfortable. You're not confident of your own tribe. If you're confident of who you are, if you're confident of your tribe, if you're confident of where you come from, you don't insult other people. Whose fault is it that I'm a Gun? Whose fault is it that I'm a Dagomba? Whose fault is it that I'm a Kwiapim? Whose fault is it that I'm a Fanti? Whose fault is it? And what I am, you are not. And what you are, I'm not. So why can't we see the differences as strength, as one another's strength? My strength, your strength, our strength will build a nation and will build a community. Shame on you when you pick up the phone to insult a particular tribe. And sometimes you hear people, oh, this tribe, they are lazy. This tribe, they are, and yet you have not even lived with them. Just because you heard somebody saying it, you've not even experienced it yourself. So let us discuss this beautiful idea peacefully, honestly, intelligently in our nation, in the spirit of nation building. Because if we don't take care, this introduction, as beautiful as it is, can destroy the whole nation. Because Africa, one of our weaknesses is the tribes we have. And at the same time, one of the beauties of Africa is the tribes we have. Think through it. The tribes we have in Africa is the beauty of Africa, is one of the beauties of Africa. And the same tribes we have in Africa is one of the weaknesses that can easily destroy us. If you don't know, go ask Nigeria, the Biafra War. If you don't know, go to Rwanda. So please, let us not incite this tribal sentiments, because after all, no tribe in Ghana is better than the other. No tribe in Ghana is better than the other. You might have achieved whatever, fine, but you're not more important than the other tribe. No tribe. No tribe. It's the same way no human being is more important than the other. I don't care what degrees you have. I don't care your status. You could be the king of the world. You're the king of the world. You're not as important as the trash collector. You're not as important as the gardener. Because what he does, you cannot do, or you may not be able to do, or you may not have time to do. And what you do, that person cannot do, or does not have the capacity to do it. So please, each and everybody is important. You might be well accomplished. You might be well influential. It's understandable. But you are not more important than any other person. So let us see the beauty of our tribes, the beauty of our differences as a unity, as a strength to foster unity amongst us for nation building. Be it Akan, be it Gan, be it Dangbe, be it Eve, be it Dagomba, be it Enanumba, be it whoever. We are the same and one beautiful people. Let us think. Let us use that brain, this white substance in between our two ears. Let us use it wisely to build our nation, because that's the only nation we got. We don't have any other nation. That is the only nation that holds our heritage. The only nation that holds our pride. The only nation that holds our strength. The only nation that holds our beauty. Let us preserve it with all of our strength and with all of our might. And on this note, I want to say thank you for being a part of Analyze This today. Let me check on Facebook. Hey, Mrs. I hope all is well with you all. We'll talk later. Alrighty. So thank you for being a part of Analyze This. Today, next week, we're going to continue same time. We want to encourage everybody to invite a friend so together we can learn, equip ourselves to make ourselves better in order to build and develop our communities. My name, Nana Osei Jr. of AfriWeek International Organization and Certo Leadership International. And we will come your way same time next week. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.